What's up? Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trading Live with Bubba or Trading Dead with Bubba. I don't know which it is. There is virtually nothing going on, and we don't expect much. This is a holiday week. It's going to get slower every day. This is typically the slowest week of the year. And again, I don't expect a lot. You can see the very narrow ranges we're trading in and everything. I mean, the S&P is in about a 6-point range. The NASDAQ's in about a 30-point range. Very difficult conditions because there's not enough speed or activity to the market. But at the end of the day, this is what you have to look up, and this is where you have to decide what kind of trader you want to be. Okay, do you want to be an active trader? And because this is not a time to be active. Okay, this is a time to wait. Even crude going straight down. Now there's a shot we can get a trade here in crude, but overall, this is a great week to study, to put yourself in position for the next couple of weeks after this. It's a great week to start to look to trades you're interested in, but overall, it's a very dead market right now. Very hard to trade. Interesting facts: margin debt is dramatically higher. And active investing has dropped significantly below passive investing, which tells you that there's not much going on. There's not much participation, which is, again, we know that already by watching the tape. Again, it's just a whipsaw around today. We've been, if you look at the spiders, for example, okay, here, your entire range for the spiders today is 220, 6220, 6157 was a low, 6327 was a high. So $1.80 range there. So there is a chance we'll get something here in crude, and we'll certainly take it if it comes. I have no problem with that. But overall, again, it's my suggestion to all of you to start to look and build, a list and things you're looking to do, because I don't expect business to come back until maybe not next week. It should start a little bit, but certainly the week after, we should start to see some potential business. So that would be what I'd be looking for. And at the end of the day, again, this is what we have to be always aware of and ready. And again, it doesn't do any good to be active in a market that doesn't want you to be active. Certainly, we can look at the crude oil right now. Okay, we're looking for a spot to buy it. Okay. And our stop would be, well, right now, it's continuing to go down. So, but right now, our stop would be at 62.84. Certainly getting hammered right now. So all we're looking for is a trigger to go ahead and buy it. And we didn't put much on last week. We were preparing for this week, which we expected the kind of action that we're seeing. So we'll see what it looks like from here. $62.84 would be the stop in crude. We do not have a trade yet, though, so we will continue to watch and wait for it. I would say 52 or above, as if this bar closes there, would be an entry. But we have to wait. No trade yet. No trade yet. So we'll wait for another minute and see if we can get one here. But again, as I said, you can see that the rest of the markets are all just kind of going sideways. So, what are you going to do there? Okay. Unfortunately, this isn't like being on the floor where you can scalp these markets. You know, you give up too much of an edge when you're trying to scalp as a retail trader. So you have to be far more careful. You know, not only is your cost higher, but you never get the advantage. You're always buying the offer and selling the bid versus the other way around, which is obviously what floor traders get to do, or used to get to do. Okay. New stop would be a 62.80 if we get a trade, but we don't have it yet. 62.80. Okay, so we're still waiting for a potential entry here. And now we'd be probably looking at about 44 if we get a trade, but again, we don't have a trade yet. And we're waiting, and of course, it's not giving us a trade, which is fine. Listen, we're going to be buyers. Let it keep going down. Okay, it just gives us a higher probability of winning. New stop would be 62.68, but no trade yet. Still waiting. And I don't think there's anything else going on anywhere else, as you can see. So basically, we're looking for the crude trade. And it's interesting. Okay, so on to the next bar. Maybe it'll trigger then. But again, you got to be patient. You got to wait your turn. $34 or above, we would look to be a buyer on this bar. Still got to wait for the bar to close, though. But I'm going to go ahead and put my stop in now at 62.68 because it looks like we're going to get a fill here. Maybe not. There we're back to 34 again. If it goes below 34, no trade. Okay, if you choose, you can make this trade. Okay, so now we're long here. We're looking to sell one. I'm in at 37, looking to sell one at 47. That's filled, and now I'm going to move my stop to break even. So I locked in 10 ticks. And now I'm working to sell another one at 57, and I've got my stop in at break even. So we've got a guaranteed profit on this trade. Hopefully it'll be a runner, but at worst, you're going to make 13, 14 ticks, which would be somewhere $13, $14 on the micros to 130, 140 on the big ones, just depending on what you're trading. But right now the trade is profitable. Certainly, if you have multiples on, which I hope you do, then you could, if you wanted, you could take another one here off. If you wanted, I'm going to hold. But certainly, if you want to take the money, I have no problem with that. I have no issue with that. Certainly, again, can never fault anybody for taking profits. All right. But there you go. There's an example of a trade in action. So we'll let it trade and see what happens. And at the end of the day, okay, I am now stopped out and ended up making on the big ones $180. Okay, and the little ones $18. And so we had nothing else much going on here. All right, so let's take a look at what's going on in our big board. If there's anything we can set up for next week. Remember, this week Nvidia and CrowdStrike earnings tomorrow. So no matter what they look like, we're not doing anything with those. Apple, really nothing. More on support, but I'm not looking to do anything here. Amazon, same thing. Coin, nothing to do really. Crowd, again, earnings tomorrow, so I'm not interested. Now, the Crowd's expected move is like $36. I will be, if it runs higher than $36, I will be a seller. If it goes down more than $36, I will be a buyer. If it trades outside the expected move, I will take the opposite. Ether, again, holding up pretty well. It's Ethereum. Meta, nothing to do. Google was a sale yesterday. Again, obviously we weren't together yesterday, but it was a sale yesterday. Nothing to do today. INOQ in the middle of nowhere. IWM, you could certainly look at selling this here, sell some call spreads here if you wanted. In fact, I'm going to look at, and I'm going to sell those for today, okay, if I can get a reasonable enough price. So let's just see what it looks like. IWM, we're trading at 235 today. You really can't get enough credit. This is one of the problems in low volatile markets. You'd have to go right at it, and I'm not interested in doing that. So I'm going to pass on IWM. MP, nothing to do. Microsoft, certainly you could sell some put spreads here if you chose to, looking for a little bit of a rally. Wouldn't be a surprise, certainly off the oversold conditions. Let's see here. Now, I might look at this for next week. Again, I'm not really all that excited to get in anything right here. No, I'm going to pass it. Okay, let's just go back and see if anything's on here. This is one of the issues we're dealing with here. There's not a lot to do. Okay, so certainly we nailed the crude, which was fine. Okay, but there's not a ton of stuff to do in here right now. I'm sure you can obviously see that. Let's just go back and take a look at anything else we might have. MSTR, that would be one I would be willing to look at. That's probably be an okay credit for next week. Let's see what it looks like here. MSTR. And for next week, let's see here. $340. $337.50 for $1.10. Yeah, I could live with that. I'm going to take that right now. $340, $337 put spread, $337.50 put spread for $1.10. I'm going to go ahead and take that trade. Okay. And let's see here. NNE, nothing to do. Nugget, I did sell deep in the money call spreads today. I sold a 90, 100 for 710. Okay. I've already done that. NVIDIA earnings tomorrow, so nothing to do today. Planeteer, nothing really to do here. QBTS, nothing really to do here. QQQ, nothing. SMCI, nothing. XYZ. Certainly you could sell some call spreads here if you were so inclined. Again, I'm urging you to be more passive here. I don't think there's a big reason to get overly involved in the market right now. There's just not a lot of action. Certainly, if you sold the 80, 81, for next week. If you get 40 cents, I would take it. Okay. The SPY, really not much to look at here. Tesla, certainly you'd want to sell some call spreads here if you wanted to trade it. TSLA. Let's see here. Tesla 350, 250. For $1.05, I could take that. Okay, and win would be a sell of some call spreads if you wanted to. Again, there's not much going on here. It's pretty quiet. A little bounce in crude, which worked. Unfortunately, we got stopped for a smaller profit. But again, going to be much more conservative in the markets as they are trading now. And again, it's so quiet and so slow. There's just not a lot to do. So, one of the things you learn is to sometimes watch, observe, don't get too involved. Okay, because again, at the end of the day, we're here about making money, not about churning out an account. And I think that's important to understand. Okay, what you should be watching for versus trying to get too active. Okay, and this is not a market that you want to be overly active in. I think it's a market that you want to sit more calmly on the sidelines. I don't think we're going to get anything else. Now, I'm not going to be here live Thursday. I'll be back next Tuesday. Have a great week, everybody. Have a great holiday, and we'll see you next Tuesday. And don't forget, I do an update every morning, give you an idea of what I'm thinking. And have a great week. We'll see you later.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.